In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how we can take our Tuya devices out of the cloud and access them locally. Check it out. What's going on, guys? I hope you're all doing well. In a previous video, we had a look at how we could make use of the Tuya integration and use it to add our Tuya devices to our Home Assistant. I'm going to contrast Tuya and Local Tuya, and then I'll show you how you go about setting up Local Tuya. You can then decide whether you want to go for the Tuya installation or the Local Tuya installation. Let's start off by having a look at Tuya and why we might want to swap over to Local Tuya. In short, Tuya is a software company that create a wide range of IoT and smart home devices. This includes things like cameras, sensors, and other bits you might find in a smart home. In addition to manufacturing some of these devices and other bits of hardware, they also host a large cloud service. This cloud service allows Tuya customers to access their devices while they're away from home. And if we're making use of Tuya, we're more than likely utilising this cloud service. Now, the cloud service does have its pros and cons. The pros being that we're able to access our devices while we're off our network and we haven't got to worry about any port forwarding or any special config. We just connect the device to the service and it should work. And the cons being we're handing off the security and trust of our devices to a cloud service. In my own opinion and based on my own experience with Tuya, I think Tuya is a great place for any new smart home user to start. My reason for this is that the Tuya products tend to be quite cheap and affordable. The quality of them is also pretty good. Tuya also allow other manufacturers to connect to its cloud service, which is a good thing for the customer because you get more manufacturers creating devices that are going to link to the same service you're using. You then get more of a range and choice of devices that are available to you. Again, this is just my own opinion based on my own experience. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you like Tuya? Do you hate Tuya? Which I guess brings us on to Local Tuya. So as I just mentioned, if we're using Tuya, we're passing off this responsibility and the security and the trust and everything else that goes with it to this cloud service. And if you think about it, this is quite a lot of trust and responsibility to put in a company in the service, because we could have things like cameras or motion sensors in our home and this company has access to it. So we just have to trust that their security is up to scratch and that our devices are safe. In addition to the security, there is also the reliability of the cloud. I did say that the uptime and response time of the Tuya Cloud was generally pretty good, but pretty good isn't perfect. I have experienced this where the Tuya Cloud's been totally down and like a caveman I've had to walk over to the light switch and physically turn it on, or go to a plug socket and also physically turn it on. I've also experienced it where the cloud's been down and I've been blue in the face shouting at the Amazon Echo to turn on a light or turn off a socket, and it's just telling me that the device is unreachable. There's also been times when I've used the Home Assistant app or the Smart Life app or even my voice, and I've given a command and then there's just been a huge delay of up to 10 seconds or more before that actual action is done. All of these issues that I've just mentioned are because of this reliance that we have on the cloud. Now, how do we improve this? How do we improve the reliability and get that control back? The answer is, of course, Local Tuya. Local Tuya is going to take these devices from the cloud and give us that local control. So we can say goodbye to these issues with the cloud being down or slow response times, because we're going to have all of this stuff local and the responsibility is going to fall on us. There's a few different ways to get your Tuya devices out of the cloud and running locally. Obviously in this video we're going to be going through Local Tuya, but another popular option is Tuya Convert. What are the pros of Local Tuya then? To start with, we're dropping that reliance on the Tuya Cloud. We're also going to get speed improvements because for the responses, we're not going to be constantly polling the Tuya Cloud. We're going to get in push updates, which are all going to be local on our network. We're also going to be getting back this control and the security of our devices. That all sounds good, so how do I go about doing this? Well, first of all, if you haven't already, press that subscribe button below. And if you ding dong the little notification bell, you'll receive a notification whenever I bring out a future video. And we're back on our lovely demo dashboard. To carry on with this setup process, I'm going to be assuming you've got HACS set up and installed. If you're not sure what HACS is or haven't got it installed, there'll be a video linked above and also in the description below. So go check out that video, and in that video I'll show you how to actually get HACS set up. Let's get started then. So first up, we're going to need to open up HACS. We're then going to click on Integrations. And in the bottom right, there's a little plus button. It's kind of just under my arm here. So we're going to press that button and we're going to add a new integration. We then want to do a search for Local Tuya. And once that pops up, we're just going to hit the install the repository in HACS here. And just go ahead and click on install. Once that's done, we're just going to reboot HomeAssistant. So we're going to go down to configuration. Then we just want to scroll down to server controls. And we're just going to hit restart. And OK. While we're waiting for HomeAssistant to restart then, we're going to head over to the Tuya developer site. There'll be a link for this in the description below. On the Tuya developer page then, we're going to need to set up a developer account, and this account is separate from the Smart Life or Tuya account you're currently using to control your devices. Now, one important thing to note here is there's actually two different ways to sign up. So the first way is just by clicking the little sign up option here, and if we press that one, we'll see it gives us the option to enter an email address, a password and a region. If we just go back a page, which will take us back to the main Tuya developer page, and from here, instead of clicking sign up at the top, we're going to click the orange IoT platform button. We're then going to be taken to this page, and from here we can see that there's another sign up link here. So if we press that sign up link in the bottom left here, that's going to take us into another sign up form, but the difference with this one is it's going to ask us to enter a company name. Let's go ahead then and start filling this in. So first up, we're going to need to enter an email address. We're then also going to need to provide a password and a company name. Now you can go nuts here, you can call the company name whatever you want, it doesn't really affect it. So enter your company name, and now this next step is an important one. In the region, you're going to need to select your region and set it as the United States. Now you're going to need to set your region as the United States even if you don't live in the United States, and the reason for this is that it's going to help us to skip a step a little later on, so make sure you've got that set as United States of America. Once you've done this, we're going to just tick the little agree box there and we're going to click the orange agree button. It's then going to email us a verification code, so we can grab that from our email and just paste that in and then hit create account. And we should then be taken to the login screen and we can just hit login. And we should then be taken to the developer dashboard. We'll get a little pop-up here that's giving us some help messages. We can just click continue and then just skip through all these, just hitting next, next, next. From here, we're going to navigate to the left-hand menu and we're going to choose Cloud and Projects. It's then going to ask us if we want to subscribe to the cloud development, and we're just going to click Free Trial. We're then going to want to make sure Trial Edition is picked and we're just going to choose Buy Now. Once that's done, we're going to just choose IoT Platform at the top again. And then we're going to hit Cloud again and Projects. On the My Project section at the top there, we can now see this little Trial Edition. And if we hover over it, we can see when the trial is going to expire. With that trial edition, you only get 1 year of access, but that's going to be plenty of time because we only need it just to do this initial setup, just to get some local keys. I'm not 100% sure, but I think maybe at the end of that year, you can actually renew it for another year. But again, not 100% sure on that. But you can definitely just transfer the account over to a new one and get a new developer account and do the same thing we've just done if you wanted to. And we're just using this method just because it's the easiest way to get the local keys. There are a few other ways to do it, but they're a bit more clunky and cumbersome. And if I remember, I'll leave a link in the description below to some of the other ways that you can go about getting your local keys. And if enough people are interested, I might show a video showing off how to use some of those other methods. Anyway, let's get back on topic. So we're in the cloud project section now, and there should just be a little option here to create a new project. So just click create. In the project name, description and industry, you can enter whatever you want here. And once you've entered those details, just hit create. We should now be able to see that project above that we just created. So in my example here, my one's Local Tuya and yours will be whatever you decided to call it. So we're just going to click on that. Our next step then is going to be to import our devices from our Tuya or Smart Life app into the developer account. And to do this, we're going to just press the link device option. And then we're going to choose link devices by app account. And then from here, we're going to press the add app account button in the right there. It's just a blue button. We should then be presented with a QR code, and we're going to need to open up the Smart Life or Tuya app on our phone and scan this in order to link the app and the developer account together. Let's go ahead and do that now then. So I've just opened the Smart Life app on my phone. In the top right, there's a little plus button. I'm going to press that. And now in the top right, there's like a little square with a line in it. I'm going to press that one as well. And it's going to present me with a barcode scanner. I'm then just going to scan the QR code. And it's going to ask me if I'm going to confirm. So just press confirm. We should now have this option with the account and the app that we've just synced. So I can see that mine was the Smart Life app, and I can see it's brought through 16 different devices. So in my example here, mine's brought through 16, and if I click on that, that's going to bring us into the device listing page. Now there's currently nothing displaying because it's looking in the region for registered devices in China. Now all of mine are registered to Europe, so if I click the drop down here and then just choose Europe, I'll then see all of my devices that have been pulled through. You'll see the custom icon if you've set any in the app. You'll get the friendly name, the device ID, and also the product ID, and obviously what the actual product is. From here in the top right, you can also see out of those devices that have come through, how many of them are online and how many are offline. So far so good? Yeah? Cool. Okay, another thing I'm going to point out here. In the first column, we can see the device name and ID. So the device name is obviously the friendly name that you've set yourself. So for example here, I've got Light3 and then below it is the ID. Now this ID is what we're going to be using in order to extract the local key from your devices. So in a second, when we start talking about extracting the local key from the device, it's that device ID that we're going to need. So now you know where it is, and when we talk about it, you're going to know where to get your ID from. Before we start extracting any of the local keys then, we're going to first need to enable a couple of APIs, and these APIs are going to be what allow us to actually do the extraction. So to do this, we're going to click on Cloud and we're going to go to API Products. By default, you're not going to have any APIs enabled, but we can see in my example here, I'm already subscribed to the Smart Home Device Management API. Now you'll need to find that in the list below here and just enable it. To do that, you'll just find the Smart Home Device Management and click it. It will then take you into a page like this, but for the Smart Home Management one, and you're just going to click the orange subscribe button. We'll then just need to click on the time limited free, and it will tell us that it doesn't cost anything, and we'll just click buy now. That should refresh, and we should see that available in this list here. From here then, we're going to just jump back to the IoT platform, and we're going to go back into Cloud and back into API Products. So we're back here on the API Products page, and we can see that we've got two APIs that we're subscribed to. The second API, the Smart Home Scene Linkage, you don't have to add that one on. I've just added it because it's going to be something that I mess about with. But if you're only interested in getting your local keys and just doing this setup, then just go with the Smart Home Device Management one. Another thing to just clarify is that this whole setup process should be free, so you shouldn't be spending any money or entering any card details or anything like that. It's free. You will have noticed that my Device Manager API was already enabled when we actually got on to adding the APIs. The reason for this is that prior to recording, I actually had a lot of issues trying to get the APIs to install. Now, to go over these issues, I'm going to be creating a separate video, and it's just going to be a short troubleshooting video because there's been a few other issues that I've run into. So hopefully by sharing those, I can help you guys if you run into any of the same problems. That video is going to be releasing alongside this video, so it should be linked above or in the description below. And I'm separating it into a separate video just to keep this a concise install video. If you're enjoying this video and you're finding it helpful, then maybe drop me a like rating. And if you press that subscribe button and ding dong the notification bell, you'll be alerted to any future videos I do. Or maybe you're watching it and you're not enjoying it and you're thinking, wow, this video is janky and this dude keeps on changing all different shades of orange. Okay, let's get back on topic then. So there's going to be one more step we need to do before we do any of the local key extraction. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to Smart Home Device Manager. We're just going to click on that. And once that opens up, we're going to choose Project, and then we're going to press the New Authorization. From here, we're going to find our project in the list, and we're just going to select it and choose OK. Our project should appear in this list, and it should now have access to the API. The next step then is the local key extraction. So we're going to go to Cloud and API Explorer. In the API Explorer, the first thing I'm going to need to do is change our data center to the relevant data center. So for me, it's going to be Europe. We're then going to choose Get Device Details from the side. And then we're going to paste in a device ID for something that we want to add to Local Tuya. So I've got my device ID of one of my lights in the clipboard, so I'm just going to paste that in. And we're going to press submit request. In the JSON response that we get back from the API, we should see this local key. And this local key is going to be what we need for each device in order to get it added into Local Tuya in HomeAssistant. So let's grab that local key now. So now we're finally back to HomeAssistant. I'm going to go to Configuration. I'm going to choose Integrations. We're then going to choose Add Integration. And we're going to do a search for the Local Tuya. And we're just going to press on that. This integration should automatically be able to detect any Tuya devices that are on our network. So in this drop down here, we should see all of our available Tuya devices. The one that we're going to want to choose from the device list is the one that we just got the local key for. So let's have a look for that now. And when we do this, we should just see all of the different device IDs. You may want to just cross-reference this with the Tuya device list, or if you go in the app, you can actually view the device ID within the Smart Life or Tuya app. So I know that this one's mine, so I'm just going to choose that one. And I'm going to click submit. It's then going to ask us to name the device. For me, this particular device is a smart plug and it's got some fairy lights plugged into it. So I'm just going to call this Local Tuya plug. Then the local key then is what we've just extracted from the Tuya developer page. So we're going to want to copy and paste that in here. Once we've entered that, we're just going to click submit. It's then going to ask us to match the entity to the device that we're adding. So again, for this example, I'm adding a smart plug. So in the drop down here, I'd need to choose switch. Now, if you were adding a light or a sensor or any of the other available ones, you'd need to make sure that you add the correct entity for the correct device type. And this is obviously important because different entities have different attributes. So for example, lights, you might have the ability to change color, whereas you probably don't have that with a smart plug. I think you get the idea. So let's choose switch here for my one and click submit. The next step is to fill out the additional information for the entity. Now don't worry if you're not sure what these are or if you get them wrong, because you can come back and edit these after. There'll be a link to the Local Tuya GitHub in the description below, and this covers some of these attributes that you can have. These are things like additional properties that your device could have. So for example, in the case of the plug, it could be voltage monitoring, current consumption. My smart plug doesn't have any of these extra monitoring features. So let's fill this in now. So the ID, my device for pin 1 is currently off. Friendly name, I'm just going to call it Local Tuya plug again, same as I did before. Current doesn't have any, so false. Current consumption, false. Voltage, also false. Again, check out the GitHub pages for any additional information on this. And also, if you want to check if your device is supported, there'll be a link for that as well in the description. So we're just going to press submit. We're then going to get another pop-up asking us if we want to create any more entities for this device. Now, this would be where you add the additional entities. So if you've got multiple different sensors on a device, so things like the power monitoring or current consumption, things like that, you'd create these extra sensors for it here. Again, we've just got a plain old smart plug, so I'm just going to say don't add any more entities and just click submit. We should then hopefully get a success message and it will tell us that we've just created this new device. So I can see there I've got my Local Tuya plug. I'm just going to choose finish on here. And we can now see the Local Tuya integration with one device and one entity. So if we added more entities, they'd be available here. So let's just click on Local Tuya now and see what that looks like. Within the integration then, I can see my Local Tuya plug and I can click on it. And just like an ordinary plug, it's got a little toggle. So I could toggle this on and off. And that's actually turning my fairy lights on now that are kind of around my front room here. So that just toggles them on and off as you'd expect for a smart plug. And it just works and it's instant. So there we go guys, that's how you get your devices added into Local Tuya. Let me know in the comments if this is going to be something that you actually try out. If you've had any issues throughout this setup process, then check the description for that troubleshooting video that I've done. In that video, I just run through some of the issues that I faced whilst setting up Local Tuya. So hopefully that video will be some use to you and you'll get your issue resolved. If your issue is not resolved in that video, then feel free to drop a comment on this video or in that video and hopefully we can get you sorted. And there we go. If you've enjoyed this video, then don't forget to drop me a like rating. If you press that subscribe button and ding dong the notification bell, you'll also be alerted to whenever I bring out any future videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers!